Hey guys, this is Ada coming in with another video. In this video, I'm going to talk about codependency. Codependency. Okay, many of you already know what a codependent relationship is, but we're going to get an official definition of codependency. Okay, let's see. I have a book here that I bought years ago called Codependent No More. And I think what I'm going to do in the future videos, I'm going to come on and I'm going to read a passage from that book. And it was written by Melody Beattie. And then she came out with another book, Codependent No More. And this is it's an old resource, guys, but I think the information is, it would be useful for today. But excessive emotional or psychological reliance on a partner, typically one who requires support on account of an illness or addiction. The tie that binds most of us in this trap is called codependency. Okay, in a codependent relationship, guys, there is no individuality. Now, according to the word, the two shall become one. But when the word says the two shall become one flesh, it doesn't mean give up your individuality as a person, because God created you a person first. You were born on this earth through your parents as an individual. So you have individual thought, individual feeling, individual choices that you make. So when you marry a person, you become one. You're in one household. The marriage is singular. Hopefully most of us are in monogamous relationship. So you become one in that aspect. Financially, you become one because you bring your finances together. But you're still individuals. So in a codependent relationship, there is a dependency on the other person for happiness. And the codependent person will tend to group him or herself together consistently when it comes to food. We're going to eat this. And they don't want to make decisions. You may say, well, what you want to eat? Oh, no, what you want. I eat whatever you eat. So there's no freedom of choice. And I mean, that's okay. But if it's consistently can't make a decision, I'll do what you do or you do what I do, that is called codependency. And in codependent relationship, I can't be happy unless you're happy. Or I'm sad because you're sad. That's codependency. Because another person should ultimately determine our happiness. They should determine our emotional state. But when there's no lack of autonomy or individuality, then the relationship becomes one of codependency. And that's where the joy is lost. When you're an individual with your own individual goals and your individual activities, that's what made the relationship spicy, for lack of a better word. But when it's to the point where you can be your own person, then you have to really suppress who you are, and then that can cause physical sickness and mental illness, because God never designed us to be codependent. He never designed us to be in a codependent relationship, because codependency also takes your will and you become passive. What do you want to do? Oh, whatever you want to do, and there's no joy, because that get old. Nobody can make a decision apart from the other one. There's no freedom. And when we are in relationship, there's supposed to be safety. But codependent relationships make us feel unsafe because you can't relax. If you say something, the other person, they want the same thing. So they don't know who they are, and they're kind of piggyback off in you, or vice versa. So nobody's really free to be themselves or speak their mind. They just got to go with what they think the other person wants. That is unhealthy. That is unhealthy, and that is toxic. And that's not God's will for us. And then with codependency, there's always over-focus on the other person. I say over-focus because it's not a healthy focus. It's not a healthy kindness and doing stuff out the kindness of your heart. Everything is done, you know, because of that feeling of unsafety. Well, I have to do this to keep him happy. And we shouldn't have to do anything to keep a person happy. You know, we're supposed to have those virtues in place as believers in Christ. You know, kindness, patience, love. But you can't ultimately make a person happy, because happiness comes from within that person. And a lot of times happiness can depend on what's happening. And sometimes we have to choose to be happy no matter what state we find ourselves, because life is not always going to be pleasant. We have to learn to sit with the sadness. We have to feel it. And then we can move on to feel happiness again. But, you know, sadness is going to come. You know, we have a variety of emotions that we have to sit with in order to be healthy individuals. But with codependent people, they tend to want the other person to mirror who they are, or they want to mirror who the other persons are. Well, if you do this, if you're mad at me, I'm going to be mad at you. How petty. But that's how codependency is. Okay? If you do this, then I'm going to do that. Well, that means you have no character, because maybe I'm having a bad day. And maybe if you weren't codependent, you could say, is there anything I can do to help you? Are you okay? That's what healthy people do, guys. But with codependency, there's really not any love. You know, there's not any deep love. There may be a superficial type eros love, but there's no real compassion. It's just mimicking what the other person is doing constantly, which make everybody miserable. So guys, with that being said, you know, just be mindful of your relationships. And sometimes we have to put some check and balances to make sure that we're not being codependent. And a lot of time when you're breaking that cycle of codependency, it can be scary. It can feel different. It can feel like you're giving up a part of yourself. And in a sense, you are giving up the parts that's no longer needed. Yeah, you know, breaking that cycle of codependency in relationship is not always comfortable. It can feel kind of scary because, you know, you're on a new journey. But there are resources. You know, there are groups that meet because people have relationship addictions. There are groups for codependent people. So with that being said, guys, as a ex-codependent, you know, I know how toxic it is. So I'm not throwing stone, guys. I'm merely bringing insight because of my own battle with codependency. And guys, with that being said, if this video has been helpful, please give it a thumbs up.